Have you ever had one of those brilliant light bulb ideas, only for it to just kind of fade away because you had no idea what to do next? Well, in this explainer, we're going to build the roadmap to turn those fleeting thoughts into actual, tangible realities.
It's a super familiar feeling, right? That spark hits, you get all excited, and then nothing. You're just stuck. The path forward seems so foggy and overwhelming. Honestly, most great ideas die right here. But what if I told you there's a map for that journey? The great news is that innovation isn't some random bolt of lightning. It's actually a process, a structured one that moves from a problem to a solution along a surprisingly clear path. It has a rhythm, and we're about to explore it. Okay, let's dive right into this core concept because it's everything. Innovation isn't just one big leap. Think of it more like a constant pulse. It's like breathing. You breathe in, expanding your thinking, and then you breathe out, focusing it. So this rhythm has two key moves. First, you diverge. This is where you go wide, generating as many wild, crazy, and different ideas as you possibly can. No judgment allowed. Then you converge. You use real-world feedback and data to narrow down those options and make a focused choice. This simple pulse of creating choices and then making choices, that's the engine that drives this whole thing.
All right, so how do we get really good at that first part, the diverging, the coming up with all those new ideas? Well, it takes a pretty special kind of mindset.
It's called abductive thinking. And here's the difference. Most of the time, we're focused on analyzing what is. Abductive thinking is the art of imagining what could be. It's literally the engine that powers the question, what if? It lets us dream up solutions that don't even exist yet.
And this visual just illustrates it perfectly. See, traditional linear thinking often looks for that one single right answer to a problem. But design thinking, fueled by abduction, takes one problem and just explodes it into tons of potential solutions. It's all about exploring possibilities, not just following a predetermined plan.
So you've used this what-if thinking to generate a ton of ideas. Awesome. But how do you know which ones are any good? You can't just sit in a room and debate them forever. You got to make them real.
And this is where prototypes come in. Now, think of a prototype not as a perfect finished product, but more like a question that you can hold in your hand. Its only job is to make your abstract idea tangible enough for real people to touch, feel, and react to.
And look, they can be anything, from a super simple sketch or a digital mock-up on a screen to a more detailed physical model like you see here. It really doesn't matter if it's low-res or high-res. The goal is simply to get out of the world of abstract ideas and into the concrete world of things.
Okay, so you did it. You made your idea tangible. You're feeling pretty good about it. But now comes the most important, and let's be honest, sometimes the most humbling part of the whole process, the reality check. It's time to see how your idea actually survives contact with real users.
Now, the fascinating thing here, and this is a huge mental shift, is that your goal is not to sell your idea. You're not there to convince anyone you're a genius. Your job is just to listen. Seriously, the real goal is to find out where you were wrong, because that's where the best improvements come from.
Tools like this Feedback Grid are incredibly helpful for this. They give you a structured way to capture what's working, what isn't, what questions people have, and even what new ideas your prototype sparks in them. This isn't just random chatter. It's the data that will guide your next convergence, your next focused decision.
And all of this brings us to the engine that drives pretty much all modern innovation. It's not about nailing it on the first try. It's about building a continuous loop of learning and improving.
See, this whole thing isn't a one-and-done event. It's a constant cycle. You are always moving through this loop. You build a prototype, you test it with real people, and you learn from what they do and say to make the next version that much better.
This is the famous Build, Measure, Learn feedback loop, made popular by the Lean Startup method. You build something, you measure how people react, and then you learn from that data. And that learning tells you whether to persevere on your current path or pivot to a new one. It's really the fastest way to learn what works.
What this really means is that you're not aiming for some big, perfect launch. Instead, your creation lives in a state of perpetual beta. It's never truly finished. It's always evolving, always responding, and always getting better based on how people are actually using it in the real world.
And when you zoom all the way out, you realize this entire roadmap, all the diverging and converging, the prototyping and testing, it's all powered by one simple thing: a genuine passion to solve a real problem for real people. That's the fuel for the whole journey.
So there you have it. You've got the map.
You understand the rhythm of creating and focusing, the power of asking what if, and the engine of continuous learning. The only real question left is, where do you want this roadmap to take you?